This is from Matt, Royal Tunbridge Wells, England. It's quite a town.
Yeehaw.
Name. Yeah, indeed. Yippee-ki-yay. It was great hearing Dan and Brad reminiscing over Red Dead Redemption on the last show. For me, it is definitely the game of the generation, so for once I agree with Dan. Sorry, Dan.
Hey, all right.
He did say sorry. What prompted me to write in was Brad's comments that the final hour of the game are a masterpiece in storytelling. I totally agree, but my question is, which final hour? The way I see it, the game actually has 3 endings, and herein lies my only criticism of the game. My question to Brad and Dan is, which ending were you talking about? Here are my thoughts. And I haven't finished the game since it came out, so this is a little bit fuzzy for me. But ending 1, Mountain Shootout. This for me was when the game should have ended. I strongly disagree. For the story element of the game to have been perfect. I loved every second of the main story and felt John Marston had become a part of me. Everything had perfectly everything had perfectly built up to the final mission when you track down Dutch and have that final showdown, and then it's over. The relief that flooded over me almost felt real. I genuinely had to stop for 5 minutes, staring out over the mountains and just take it all in. It was finally over. I made my way slowly down to my horse, had my final cutscene with the law, and then climbed on my horse to head back to my family. And then it started, this wonderful, haunting wanderer's ballad.
Yeah.
And as you make your way down the mountain and the snow starts to thaw and the sun breaks through the trees, warming your cold and tired body, so the song rises and warms your heart. It's very poetic. Ending 2, Family Life. Whilst I was disappointed that the game didn't end there, I did enjoy the next section, looking after the farm and your family and trying to sort out your affairs. I could see the shootout with the law from a mile off, but didn't expect the final outcome. When the game ended with my wife and son looking out over the graveyard, I was happy. They had surprised me, and that was brilliant. It's such a shame that Rockstar did not have the balls to end the game here like so many of the great Coen Brothers films, where the story hasn't reached a cliched ending and some of the bad guys have gotten away with it and some of the good guys have been shafted. Ending 3, Hollywood ending. This was my only disappointment with this otherwise perfect game. They carried the game on with an epilogue after the credits where all the loose ends were tied up, and that spoiled the feelings I left the game with. Time has lessened this, and I remember the game fondly, but this still niggles. So, thoughts?
Oh, having had that ending described to me before, like that sounded amazing. Like that final part that he is...
The last part?
Yeah.
So, do you know what happens or how it's presented?
You play as his son and go murder the people that killed...
So it's actually way more subtle than that because... So, yeah, you track down your old boss, crime boss, like partner, guy who screwed you over and sold you out. You kill him at the behest of the law because you're an outlaw and they're going to lock you up and take you away from your family if you don't do what they say.
Yeah.
So you kill him, you basically do the law's dirty work, and then you go back to the farm and try to settle down with your wife and son, and you actually do several missions of, like, teaching your son to hunt and, like, other farm shit, and then, like, the day comes, and it's like there's a heavy cloud hanging over everything, and the law comes for you. And it's basically you and a dozen lawmen facing off in front of the barn, and they just shoot you down.
You come out of the barn, and you just see them all there with their guns drawn, and it's like, oh, shit, it goes into the slow-mo thing.
Right.
And you're trying to, like, tag as many of them as you can.
Yeah, it gives you the opportunity in the slow-mo to, like, pop off a bunch of headshots, but there's just no way to do it.
Yeah, you realize during the actual slow-mo thing that, like, oh, this is not going to end well.
Right.
Like, I don't have this many bullets, I don't have this much time on my slow-mo.
Like, you've spent the entire game, like, slow-mo headshotting thousands of people, but you can't shoot your way out of this. And they take you down, and you realize, you know, it's a noble sacrifice for the sake of your family and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
The reason the final thing is so subtle is because they jump forward in time, they put you in the role of your kid grown up and, like, ready to go out on the prairie or whatever. But it is kind of...
You don't necessarily know that when it starts.
Ostensibly, it's just, now you can go do the other side stuff you missed. Here's a character to keep playing as because the main character's dead.
Right.
The mission that you go on to find the guy the lawman who ran this whole thing and take him down just shows up as every other side quest on the map. Like, what was it, a question mark or something?
Or maybe it might have been a letter. Actually, no, I think it was a question mark.
It might have been a letter, but the point is, like, they call no attention to this final epilogue mission.
It's
after
not like
the
finish
credits.
the fight.
It's
not
after.
Like that.
It's like after. Is it after the credits? I can't remember, actually.
He made it sound like it was.
The credits roll when John Marston gets...
I think you're right.
That might be the case. But anyway, you hunt this guy down, and he's basically retired and trying to live the good life.
He's fishing or something by a river.
You find him, like, fishing, basically, and you just walk up to him and fucking, like, it's just, you know...
I dynamited him into the river and watched his corpse float away.
I was all in movie mode. I just shot him down.
I think I might have shot him down and then actually laid dynamite and stuff to blow him into the river.
But at this point, like, you fully accepted that the game's over. There's no more story to occur.
Right. It's almost like they're dumping you back into the world so you can keep going.
Right.
You wouldn't expect there to be anything else.
So it's a huge
kind of
surprise.
Yeah.
When you follow up on this little side mission and realize that what it actually is vengeance for your father.
Yeah, I think those elements like made me want to go back to it again, because I think that stuff sounds fucking really cool.
It's incredible, and even the presentation of it, when it like you shoot the guy and you turn and walk away, and then it just slams to red, and like Red Dead Redemption is like the latest title card.
Yeah,
it's handled incredibly well.
Yeah, I think calling that like the Hollywood ending is like Hollywood by way of Italy, or like
sure.
Like that sort of stuff.
It's probably like consistent with the kind of cinematic inspirations of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like I thought that stuff sounded pretty fucking. Like I ended up seeing it. Had someone kind of walk me through that stuff, and like, this is fucking. That's a really fucking cool idea.
Yeah, it's like one of the best endings to a game I think I've ever seen, and I think you get your Coen brothers in the fact that Marston dies, right? Like it's not a happy ending because he's not just allowed to live out his life tending the farm or whatever. He ultimately pays for the sins of his past.
Well, and then there's that sad, really good scene where I can't remember, you're in a carriage or something with that girl. There's that girl you talk to a lot, and she's clearly got a thing for you. And Marston just kind of has to begrudgingly be like, "Oh, sorry, ma'am. I'm a married man."
Yeah, he's trying.
You could tell that they would like really like they're hitting it off really well.
Well, he's trying to clean up his act.
Yeah.
He tries to go straight, but his past just catches up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with what this guy has to say, but it's kind of a sign of a well executed thing is that there's a lot of room for interpretation and personal preference and stuff. So there you have it. There's our 5 years late discussion on the ending of Red Dead.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I was never going to play that.